All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another special edition of the Wrestling Summit. I am here. I'm Brian H. Waters, and I'm joined by first, coming all the way from the areas of Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the First Lady of the Wrestling Summit, Amber Rodriguez.
Hello. I don't live in D.C.
I said around. I didn't want to give you the exact location.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I want to make claim DC.
I know, that's why I did it. Just like a giant, you're gonna wish you didn't claim them. And perhaps the happiest person in Virginia right now, because we all know that the Redskins fans that live down there aren't happy. But this guy isn't a Redskins fan. Perhaps he's an Philadelphia Eagles fan. Why? When he got Chip Kelly as your coach. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the one, the only real Mike Knox.
I mean, seriously, why we got to go there? I mean, I'm just here so I don't get fined. So can we talk pro wrestling now, please? We already know what we're doing, and we know what y'all not. So sorry, DC. Can we talk professional wrestling, please?
All right, what a week in professional wrestling. We had WWE's NXT Takeover Respect, where we saw the one, the only Sasha Banks attempt to regain her women's championship, but she was defeated by Bayley, as in a, what I called it, if you remember, I said it right there on Fox Sports 1340 Radio the other day, that Bayley would win 3-2 as far as the foot was concerned, and that she did. So, Amber, what did you think of that match, and how do you feel this elevates the women in professional wrestling as a whole?
It definitely elevates it, and I love the match. I thought they've had some really good matches together. I think they have really good ring chemistry together. And I look forward to seeing, more from each of them. Sorry, I got lost in my thoughts. I think that, by them working together, hopefully it pushes all of the other women's wrestlers watching, to step their game up and, try to get on their level. So, Mike?
It was what we suspected. I like Brian H. Waters. You did call exactly what the roundage were going to be and how much, pretty much the 3-2 that happened there. It was good. It was big for wrestling. And what I loved about the whole situation more than anything, I love how they all came out to support it, to be honest, how they all came out the locker room, how it looks like they're showing this effort and giving this attention to them, being the first main event that they had, not just in NXT, but pretty much on any kind of WWE programming where females were the main event, at least that, to my knowledge, that I can remember, Brian.
Oh, certainly. It was, when I watched the match, it was something I was looking forward to, and I watched it at the same time. We all know it was Wednesday night, so we know what comes on. And I'm sitting there, and the match held my attention, and I just loved the timing, the pacing of it. I really enjoyed it. You can't tell me nothing different. I will always say this. I will argue this point down that to me, their match at in Brooklyn was better than the main event of Owens and what's his name, Balor.
Yes.
But when this match, I was happy they got a chance to be on the main event. I thought it was a perfect time at a time where you have Finn Balor doesn't really have a concrete rival. Him being the champion, you don't have somebody that who's the number one contender. You take an opportunity, you put them in the main event, and it paid off.
Right.
So this brings me to my next question, and I'm gonna start with you, Amber. Will we ever see the women in professional wrestling in the WWE ring? Will we ever see the main event at WWE pay-per-view?
We've seen women's wrestlers main event Raw before. So I think it's possible. If you want my honest opinion, I don't think it's going to happen soon in the near future, but I think we're on our way to that happening.
You, Mike?
No, see, I don't, and again, I'm glad you said that happened. I didn't remember that being a time that it happened on main event. So I'm gonna have to assume that it had to be between Alita and a Trish Stratus.
Yeah.
It was on Raw. That's what she was
Okay.
saying. It was on Monday Night Raw.
Well, I don't remember that main event, to memory. So you know what I mean. And of course, we have our own female inside the square ring expert herself that would remember that. That's good knowledge. Not like some people we know say they got wrestling knowledge, but they have to Google it. No. I'm talking about like athletes out there, wrestlers that tough enough type people. You know what I'm saying? But I really do appreciate giving me that knowledge. But I love the match, and I do think this gives that. I think that it gives the fans, and one thing I think should take advantage of. Take advantage of how it's hot right now. Use this to their advantage, WB can. Let the fans who, in my opinion, are their worst enemy, don't really know what they want, their flavor of the month. Oh, what Kool-Aid is that? Oh, I like that Kool-Aid flavor. Keep letting them drink it up right now. They want to keep drinking up this female wrestling, then let them drink it up and give it to them more and more and more and more right now. Why it's hot. Again, I've been waiting for this. Brian, we've talked about it before. I could not stand where female wrestling has gone. I love where it is now, and this is when you take advantage of this right now. You just go out there, you give it to them, and to frankly be honest with you, it's the perfect time for it also because it's a down period in wrestling. Everything right now is going to be slow until about January. You know that leading into the Royal Rumble, it's the slower months. They're touring, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's the perfect time to see what else is out there, Brian.
Well, I think we'll see it. I think we might be 5 years away from it. It may be less. But this is another question I have for the both of you. Are the women on the roster now? Whether it's WWE, whether it's NXT, whether it's developmental, somebody who's perhaps not on TV yet. Are they on the roster now, or are we still waiting for them to get signed? Or perhaps are we still waiting for them to be born?
Oh, wow. If you don't mind, Amber, I say they're there now. My only problem with all of this, all right, because I would not be Mike Knox if I not speak my mind and be honest. I think as much as I love Sasha, I know how fickle fans are. I wouldn't give her too much right now. I'd like a slow build. WWE have seemed to forgot what a slow build is. You know what I mean? This is a perfect time to me in wrestling in general because what do you have to lose? You know what I mean? Build people slow. Bring them up. Let her work her way through all them divas, whoever they want to give the crown to. Because people forget how quickly, and which she has been forgotten, she's the Divas champion, Charlotte, she was a favorite of the month this time of year ago. And now all of a sudden, she's getting the Roman Reigns treatment in a way, in my opinion. And they're like, she's a forgotten diva that's out there. Right now, these divas are all good, in my opinion. You got one or two that I'm not throwing in the mix, but the main core of this core is pretty good. And you got some girls coming from NXT that can also come up. And it's especially what I saw on Takeover. What's the girl? Ashura? If I'm saying it right, help me out here. You laughing at me. You laugh on. I don't know. Okay, that chick is bad. That chick is bad. I have never seen a female go like that.
Well, Mike, this is why I've been trying to tell you, man. You gotta watch Shimmer, because Connor was bad. Amber will tell you.
Man, I'm sitting there like this. Why? And my son's like, "Yo, Dad." I'm like, all I want to see from her, and shout out to Jay Chris from the Solon Sports, was the Great Muta mist. That's all I want to see from her, Amber. Throw some mist out, and I'm done. If she can throw some mist, I'm sold even more.
Yeah. Well,
I think they're all good. All of them are good, but I'm still looking to see who's that one above the rest. I was always a huge fan of Paige. I know when she did that promo and, she basically read all of them girls. She said Charlotte wouldn't be there if it wasn't for her daddy. I was like, oh my gosh, because we're all thinking these things, and then she said it. And I was surprised, they let her say stuff like that. And I love to see stuff like that. And WWE does have a habit of taking things and running with it. So I'm hoping they do the same with their women's division. Hopefully, we can keep this good momentum.
Well, shout out to our boy, the CEO of the BSO, Black Sports Online, Robert Littell. He just said he believes Sasha could headline a pay-per-view if pushed properly. He just feels she doesn't have a Bayley on the main roster. Now, And I see Corey checking in. Before I go to Corey real quick,
I disagree with that
Amber.
part.
Okay, this is I might want to hit on a point that you touched on earlier. You said that people turning on Charlotte, she was the flavor of the month, but you hoping they don't give Sasha too much soon. I see what you're saying there, but I also noticed that I think they're heeding your warning in a sense because we haven't been given too much Sasha. Yeah, it kind of hinted at something Monday night when when Sasha said, I'm coming, it's going to be my belt. And then Naomi said, oh, but, y'all supposed to be so tight.
Right.
There's only one belt. So I saw that and I said, okay, that plants a seed. But Charlotte, I don't think that necessarily by the masses that she's being booed as much as she is on social media. I think
Right.
social media, and I'm not trying to discredit you by saying you're not paying attention to both, but I do feel that social media is more against Charlotte than the live audience. I will say that, but we do. What
See,
I do
I
see
don't like
is
the response the live
Sasha's
audience
over.
I don't like the response that the crowd gives her, and I don't like
Mhm.
how every single Divas match I hear we want Sasha. And you know how I feel about crowds disrespecting the talent. I think that's
Mhm.
just disrespectful when somebody else is in the ring giving their all and you're chanting for somebody else.
That's
Especially when
American wrestling fans for you.
Absolutely, especially when it's girls that can go. And like I said, I'm sorry. I know nobody else sees it but me. But I tell you one thing, and this, I got my ace in my hole right here, Brian. Okay, if Bret the Hitman Hart told me I know my wrestling, I don't care what you guys think. Nikki Bella can go. I'm sorry, she grew. She has grown to be a credible ring. I'm not saying she's great or nothing like that. Okay, but you gotta have your sports entertainment chick too. Okay, to make the ones that are coming up the ladder. She's a star, and you got to have Sasha, you got to have Charlotte, you got to have Paige, you got to have Naomi beat someone like a Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella can't go nowhere. To me, she's the pinnacle right now.
I
Corey,
mean, the
what's going
Bellas.
on?
I just want to say real quick, I think the Bellas are good now. They're good now, and like you said, they grew, but they're vets. They're veterans by default. I mean, I would like to see more of Natty. Because she's a true vet. But I feel like the Bellas are vets by default because there's not really, other than Natty, there's no one really there who, is that measuring stick for these girls.
You're right. You're absolutely right on that one.
I'm gonna write my question down because I don't want Corey to be here too long without not getting nothing in. I know there's fans out there that's been waiting for him to chime in. So I'm gonna write my question down because I have a good question, a question for Amber afterwards. Go ahead, Corey.
Well, sorry. Sorry I'm late. I had to pull over and find somewhere. So far I'm very happy. The Eagles won and the
Oh
Cowboys.
gosh.
Thank you, Brian.
Come on, talk to me, Corey. We tied for first, baby. Let's go.
We were playing the Patriots with our second string.
Yeah, you would say that, and that's
Hey, right. It's why we play the game. Go ahead, Corey.
So, I absolutely think that we can have a woman main event a pay-per-view. We got to have the right talent up there, though. I think it takes one or two more come-ups from NXT before it happens. The way that we are booked these days with the main roster, although we could, and as I say, we could have somebody two women main event a pay-per-view. Will it happen? Probably not. And the only reason why I say that is because of the insatiable attitudes of fans that we have these days, to where they always want the instant gratification. They want the payoff before the storyline even develops. So we're never going to really get something, where we can get a quality match at the end, because you're always going to have, whoever your main seller is, your Cena, your, Roman Reigns, whoever, they're always going to put them at the end just because they sell X number of T-shirts. That's the only hindrance, I think.
So not even on a I don't know, Vengeance or what's that, Payback?
But do those
pay-per-views that's like hit or
pay-per-views,
miss.
do they exist anymore in the sense of what you're referring to as far as these kind of B pay-per-views? Yes, we have our big four, but it seems as though these kind of lackluster pay-per-views that we think are going on, they always throw something in there to get somebody to subscribe to the network or to buy the network for that month. They've been doing that lately to where we've gotten something. So I don't know.
Well, that's certainly interesting. My question, as far as the Bellas was concerned, is it that I know you said that the veterans are Amber, you said they're veterans by default, but is it the thing of where that they have left us with so many bad wrestling memories that no matter how good they get, the fans will never accept them as the way they would Natalya or Sasha Banks?
I do think that's the case. Because, like I said, they're good now. They weren't always good. You know, they were. At one point, I would put them on the same level as, like, Maurice or Kelly Kelly or, you know, they're divas. You know, I wouldn't say they're really, like, workers. They're more of divas. And, you know, they've shown that so much to where it's like now you want to be workers because all these other, you know, younger girls who are coming in are showing you up. So now you want to step it up and be a worker. It's too late.
Well, I got something to say about that.
No, yeah, go ahead.
And I'm going to politely raise this question. Is it that they want to be workers or have to be workers now, or is it that they didn't have to be considering?
That's my exact same question.
Because where they are now, sure, it looks like because of the crop that's coming up now, now they want to wrestle. But
they didn't have to be before.
When they were there, I mean, at the time that their height or whatever, as they were there, did they really need to be that much cut above the rest, considering the talent that was already there? That's what I'm going to say. Go ahead, Mike. Or Amber, whoever.
No, you echo my exact sentiments exactly. Like it's the times. You know, I think that, and I'm going to always go back to this, Amber. I see absolutely, positively no difference in Nikki Bella than Trish Stratus, and can't no one tell me any different. There is no difference. There is no difference in their wrestling ability and where they were in the beginning of their career for the first 5 to 6 years to where they are now towards the tail end of their careers. She is just as good in the ring as she was, and Trish is just as bad as she was in the beginning as Nikki was in the beginning.
Good point.
There is no difference between Nikki Bella than Trish Stratus, but the world loves Trish because of that's all they had was Trish and Lita.
No, because that's what I was going to say, because of the company that was
that's all they had.
Trish, Lita, Mickey, Melina. You had all of these different kind of Molly Holly. All of this talent.
Ooh, I love me some Molly.
Yeah, all of this talent that was able to supplement Trish Stratus. And truth be told, no knock on Trish. But Victoria,
I love Trish.
All of those talents made her look just as good as she was in the ring. She needed that dancing partner, you could say. So
there you go.
I agree with Mike. Absolutely.
I mean, I can see the correlation between the two, but I still, I don't know. I wouldn't put the Bellas on that pedestal.
Why?
Because, like I said before, like, you know, they see all these younger girls showing them up, and now they want to be workers. And sure, they didn't have to do all of this before when, you know, Maurice and Kelly Kelly and all of those girls were around. They didn't have to, you know, step it up then. But they could have. They could have still, you know, taken the initiative to stand out, you know, and show that in-ring skill.
Let me ask y'all this. I watched the Rivals set on the WWE Network between Trish and Lita. I guess it's season 2 of WWE Rivalries.
Just started,
Trish said something that made a lot of sense, and I can remember being a teenage boy, and I'm gonna just leave it there when this happened. She said that she had to reprogram the audience, and she did something simple as wear pants, because she said now wasn't the time to look at her butt. And if you remember, after, you know, her rivalry with Jazz and a lot into, you know, her moving forward, I think by this time she was like a 3-time WWE Women's Champion. This is when you started to see her transition and wear the pants, and she became, you know, it was less sex symbolish until you didn't see that again until she went into the stint with Edge, Christian and Jericho, and then you didn't see it again till you saw the stint with Kane when she was the maid of honor. Do you think if Nikki Bella was to do something similar, fans in the Amber's position will respect her more? And I'll start with you, Amber.
I think they would respect her more. Yeah, I mean, this as basic as that. I think they would respect her more.
Fellas?
Here's my thing, and this is purely plain Jane speaking. For the better part of it, although she has a great backside to look at, her assets are in the front. So I think it's more so she's going to have to cover the front.
But Corey, look what she does when she comes out to the ring, though.
Yeah, but I mean, what people are looking at is the difference between her and Brie, and that's in the front. That's what's always people are going to look at. I mean, politically speaking, and I'm trying to keep it as clean as possible. I know. That's what people are looking at for the most part.
Now, where did she cover that up, though?
Then there may be a difference. Absolutely. But, yeah, I mean, I was speaking strictly to, specifically you said pants, so I answered pants.
Okay.
Yeah. If she was to cover up or wear, you know, a one-piece type of suit or something, she could garner more respect. Absolutely.
I don't know about that. I've always personally said, you know, and heck, my wife's sitting right here. I say, give me Bree's, give me Bree Mode's face any day, and give me Nikki's body. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I think Bree's prettier than Nikki Bella. I think the only thing people do look at Nikki Bella is her, you know, her top appeal, and I think again for what it's worth. That's why I think fans are where they are with her. And again, just to go back just a little bit, I look at, you know, I wrote down a group of names here. We look at Total Divas as a TV show, right? At the end of the day, we're talking. The Bella's been here for what, over a decade now, if I'm not correct by this, right, Corey?
9 years, I think.
Okay, close to a decade. They didn't have to wrestle before. That wasn't their job. Their job was Eve Marie's job. The reason why Eve Marie is getting taught how to wrestle is because the world is turning towards that now. She's still there to be a pitcher for television. You know what I mean? So the Bellas didn't have to wrestle. So I'm not necessarily sure it was them saying, oh, them saying now, oh, let's learn how to wrestle because these girls are actually coming forward. I'm quite sure that's in the back of their heads. You know what I mean? Because the proof's there. Like, oh my God, not only are they attractive and they can wrestle, I gotta step it up. Yeah, Leighton, was it late? Yeah, but also, again, I think I've seen this time and time and time again. One of my favorite divas of all time couldn't wrestle a lick, and Stacy Keibler. You know what I'm saying? Not one lick could Stacy Keibler wrestle. That wasn't her job. Lana's job, even though people tell me Lana can wrestle, that's not her job. Her job's not to wrestle. Her job's to look good. You know what I mean? They have women that are there to wrestle. They have women that are there just to be, valets. And at this time, you got girls like Sasha Banks. You got I wrote her name down wrong. Tammy Lynch. You know what I mean? You got this. Say her name again. Becky Lynch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm on this high from the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Chicago Cubs tomorrow. So when you got all this going on right now in the world of professional wrestling, it's a good time for them to be. And now's the place to have pretty women that can wrestle. You know what I mean? Or women there that can wrestle, and they're just not there saying, "Oh my God, she's pretty." Guys can actually respect them. I remember when your first shows you came on, Amber, you put something in my mind. You were like, "Why can't they just be called wrestlers?" When I was trying to call them, like, I don't want to see them do that. Then I realized I heard a comment that Sasha and Bayley both made about why it's called an Iron Man match and not an Iron Woman's match, and they echoed your sentiments almost exactly like, "Yo, we're just wrestlers. I don't care if it's called an Iron Man or not. That's what they do. We're going to do what these men do." So, I mean, for what it's worth, let these women go out here and keep doing what they're doing. And they're doing a god darn good job, if you ask me. You know what I mean? Give me a main event. I don't care what it is. I don't think there's a single B pay-per-view anymore. Anything we all call B becomes A's. And what we call A's become B's, maybe C's.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to, shift gears to the people down south.
Oh.
TNA, as we know, Matt Hardy won the championship last Sunday, and I was probably the most excited person. Me being a huge Matt Hardy fan, only for him to give the belt back, which leads to this next point. TNA's having a tournament. They call it a World Title Series, which baseball season, pretty cool, whatever. And the knockouts are in it. How do you guys feel about that? And Amber, I'll start with you. I mean, that's what seems to be what I keep doing. But I want to know your opinion. How do you feel about
ladies
the
first?
knockouts vying for the TNA Heavyweight Championship of the world?
I think they see what's going on with WWE and, the Divas Revolution and, how women's wrestling is starting to step up. So they're like, oh, let's get in on that. Let's have our women, let's have our women, gain, more respect from our fans too. It's like the domino effect, kind of. So I think it's a good idea. I mean, they're trying to get fans, at least their fans, to see their women also as just wrestlers, not necessarily women's wrestlers, but wrestlers. Equal opportunity. I think it's a good thing.
I'm going to say last-ditch effort, and I hate to say that, but at this point, they're literally taking whatever they can write down, throwing it against the wall, and they're going to see if it sticks. That's pretty much where I'm at now.
I don't know what's going on today, Corey, but I swear we're on the same page because I say it's crap because that's exactly what it is. Where was this at before? And this may not be fair. Matter of fact, I know it's not fair. I always say you can't compare, for instance, NBA Live to NBA 2K16 for those who are gamers. It's not fair. One's the greatest and one's trying to come back. TNA and WWE is the same kind of thing. It's not fair to compare the two at all. TNA's who they are, WWE's somewhere in another stratosphere. Okay, so even with that being said, the world takes notice still when you're that no matter what you try to do, they're gonna always compare. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast. And they have had the dominant females in wrestling for the longest time. Okay, WWE is the one who's just now the new kids on the block when it comes to letting these females shine in the wrestling ring. Where was this at first? Y'all were known as the innovators of things that were different to television. Okay, and you got away from it. And you're right, Corey. It's a last-ditch effort to try to get fans back, but you're getting fans back to me when I think it might be a little bit too late, Brian.
Well, I mean, I've made it no secret. I'm not, and this is no disrespect to men or women who perform. I'm personally not a fan of the intergender matches. I just
that too.
I guess because this is the way I look at it. When I watch when I'm in the if I'm watching a show, I'm watching it as it's being presented, and then I go back and analyze it. So the idea of a man striking a woman doesn't sit right with me, even though it's wrestling. But that's just me. I remember when WWE had China always competing with the men, and even to an extent, Karma and Beth Phoenix entering the Royal Rumble. I didn't mind that, not because, and the reason why I didn't mind it because they were just so dominant in those matches. What I'm interested in seeing is, say, like a Velvet Sky versus EC3. I'm not. I don't how I would feel about that. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Like I said, I mean, just to piggyback on what he's saying, they're throwing stuff to the wall. They're hoping it sticks. Anything that will attract somebody to look at the product, even if it's man versus woman, that's what they're doing at this point. And it's really, I can't stress it enough. It's last ditch effort. I mean, at the point at where they're at now, with their programming, with their house shows, with the attendance, just the product that they're putting out, it really shows that, okay, we're going so unconventional. If this doesn't work, we kind of don't care because we know where we're at, and that's how it kind of looks.
Not only is it that, to be honest, or all of that, to be honest. I do have younger kids. I have younger males that watch wrestling. Anytime there's an interaction in the ring with the male and the female, remember, you got to think when we were younger, right? And we got to think of the majority of the crowd they really do have, right? That's why our ages, not us necessarily, because we're the intelligent wrestling fan. This is the show for the intelligent wrestling fans as well. Wrestling_Summit for those who are checking in on YouTube. We don't get bent out of shape about certain things. You don't see us get mad and have hissy fits on the internet. We understand. It's what it is, right? But I have children, and my sons to be like, they're not supposed to touch each other. So I don't want to see that either, Brian. You know what I mean? Like, because I tell my sons, listen, Michaela, you know you don't put your hands on Michael. Don't you hit my son. What you hit her for? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, a man does not hit a woman. I don't care how it is. So, no, I'm not a fan of this. This isn't the Attitude Era or, 20 years ago when, ECW was hot and you can do such a thing. Even then, I didn't like when we were going through tables then, like, okay, what's her name? McGillicuddy. I used to hate that. That was one of the reasons why I wasn't the biggest ECW fan. Because I used to be like, wow, they just power drive this chick. You know what I'm saying? There was that one video about a month ago that was circling around when the guy, I don't know, he super power bombed this chick, and I'm just like, man, I get you, girl, you sold it, but that looked a little bit too real for me. I think he threw up in the air and gave her a backstabber. Like, literally threw her in the air and then fell and gave her a backstabber. I was like, whoa.
I think that was Alexander, and I forgot who the
Candice LeRae.
Man, I get that you sold it, but it looked really bad. You know what I'm saying? And it's stuff like that even though the woman is probably saying, oh, I can go with the guys, and I respect that. It's the majority of America, and it's just people how we think. It's a mental thing. It's how it comes off. You know what I mean? It's just how it comes off. It doesn't come off very well. So me, I don't want to see, even though I know that ODB can beat half the roster over there.
Your thoughts, Amber? Before we
I feel like, it's wrestling. Like, chill out. It's not that serious. As far as your kids watching, like, my nephew loves wrestling, but he knows in real life he is not to put his hands on a female.
Yeah.
But in the ring, like, it's a sport and it's a show and it's entertainment. Like, it's not that serious.
I understand that, but it's also too, like, and I guess the way I'm looking at it, where it was different when I was a baby. It was before the Attitude Era. It felt like when you had your Bret Hart era versus your Shawn Michaels era, where it was like takedowns, body slams, wrist locks, as opposed to kick punch. That's all I'm saying. That's the way I look at it. And that could be me I'll be an old fart on this one, but if it's just the sport, like if it's like in Ring of Honor, where it's the code of honor being conducted, that's fine. But when it's that's the part. That's all I'm saying. Like the tables instance. If it's just a regular match, fine. But when you're throwing them through tables and stuff, come on now.
I thought Greg Excellent and Mia Yim, I think they've had, some good matches together. And I don't know, I really like intergender matches. Like, I think it's just another match. I wrestled my cousin Patrick Clark. Like, I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah. And I would never say, now this one thing you ain't gonna never hear me say is that you won't see a 5-star intergender match. I've seen quite a few of them. I was there for Greg Excellent, Mia Yim too. And before the match, I remember sitting there talking with Mia Yim. It was like, wow, like y'all had a crazy match last time. And I wasn't ready to see it again. But it was also, I guess it was just, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't have to see it all the time. This will be interesting to see how this plays out. We'll go into the knockouts and see how far a TNA knockout will go in this tournament. But, speaking of TNA, as we move on, James Storm showed up on NXT. Did anybody see that one coming? I'm going to start with you, Corey, on this one.
Oh, boy. To be honest, yeah. Only because on his Twitter he started changing up stuff and putting all this WWE stuff up there. I was like, okay, it's only a matter of time. What I'm starting to see, and it's not an alarming or it's just a trend. It seems like WWE is going after a lot of these TNA guys and giving them the same kind of TNA schedule, but giving them better pay and more of an exposure on television, or more of a guarantee that they're going to at least get paid, from what it seems like. Your Samoa Joes, your James Storms, and whoever else may show up, they may never leave NXT. And that's what I don't think a lot of people realize. They may just be comfortable in NXT to the point where they're like, okay, listen, I'm at this point in my career. Yeah, I've still got a name and will definitely attract people, but let me put some people over. Let me help these young guys that are down here in NXT. And I don't even have to really go to the main roster. I can help train as long as you give me X amount of dollars, X amount of dates, and just let me just do me. I'm good. And that's what I think we're starting to see is that they're going to pick up these TNA guys and they're going to use them, as, and I say enhancement talent in the sense of their name value is going to help the brand enhance. And that's where I see these guys now. And I think it's a good move. It's safe. It's a secure move for their family. They probably made more than enough money in TNA as top talents. Now they're getting almost that extra paycheck. And now they get to have fun again from what it seems like. So that's where I think they're at.
Mike?
Joe, Storm, Rhino, Bobby Roode, 10 years too late.
Ooh, 10 years too late.
I'm sorry. These are guys that I wanted there 7 years ago. And we have guys on the roster. Like, I love Samoa Joe. When I first saw Samoa Joe come over from and to TNA, I was like, oh, my God, the America's Most Wanted. Oh, my God. And now I look at Joe and I go, oh, guess what, Joe? You've been replaced by a younger guy doing the same moves as you do, and Kevin Owens. Oh, there go James Storm. Guess what? There's someone like a James Storm there already. And I even thought about it, what Corey, the aspect of them just staying in TNA until Corey just mentioned what he said, but I guess that's why he's the wizard. If they stay, I'm perfectly fine because then guess what? Then I'm not worried about NXT dying. Then I'm cool. But if they are to be supposedly what fans would hope they would do in most cases, I don't want it, don't need it. I think they should stay in NXT because been there, done that. What does it do now? I don't think they would ever be accepted on this roster with this crowd the same way when you get certain NXT talent that moves up that's just not respected. There's just certain people who are just WWE guys, and there's people who are just wrestling fans. And the majority of the WWE quote-unquote universe don't know nothing about these people. That's why they booed the Ascension. That's why they didn't know who Kevin Owens was. We heard
still
that
mad
live.
about the Ascension.
I'm going to always be mad because in NXT, they were the biggest thing. And all of a sudden, they come up, everybody's booing them. They're the same goddamn gimmick. All they did was put some stupid paint on their faces.
They were
Okay? I get that part. Okay, but James Storm, I love the guy. I really do. And hey, good for him, to be honest. This isn't me hating on him getting a job and like Corey said, having fun. I just, as a wrestling fan, what does it do? It doesn't do anything. I wanted the it factor and all of them here 7 years ago, and then it would have meant something.
Amber?
I agree with what Corey said. They're moving on with the next phase of their career, and they're having fun. They're teaching the younger guys, prepping the younger guys to go up to the main roster. However, for them, I think they're fine where they are. I like, seeing Samoa Joe in NXT, and, James Storm is going to be good in NXT, but I don't know how it would feel seeing them on Monday Night Raw or, anything like
Weird.
that.
Weird.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's like, oh, okay, but it's not, I don't know, I just don't think it's going to have the same response as it does in NXT.
I mean, all right, so this is the way I look at it. The way the WWE Network is going, they get new subscribers every day, contrary to what people want to believe, whether, people who are sharing the WWE Network have a falling out and they get it, so they probably was already a subscriber of some sort. I found it interesting that when I first subscribed, that who didn't be were confused. They thought you had to sit down ahead. With that being
Yes, B? Grandmaster B?
yeah, oh, don't tell me I've been gone out.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You're back now. We got you, bro. Bring it back.
Okay.
Rewind. Bring it back. Come rewind.
You got the sound effects.
You know, man.
So the thing is about NXT, the audience is growing. And I think more and more, as more and more the audience is growing, I think that there'll be better, smooth transitions. Perhaps we might not see a Kevin Owens or, a Samoa Joe or a James Storm on a WWE Raw, or when we do it, it might be just a a quick appearance, or they might be maybe finishing up a rivalry with somebody. But I think I like it. I like him coming over there, and I see what I see in NXT is people didn't want to go there because they felt it was the developmental system.
Right.
It was, well, I'm not going there. I don't need to develop. I'm fine. I can wrestle. And Chris Jericho said it best. There is a certain WWE style, and I've never been in a ring and never been a wrestler. I mean, I've been in a ring, hence why I have the utmost respect for wrestlers, because it hurts. But I've never been a professional wrestler. But from what I've read and listened to on podcasts, Chris Jericho said it is a different style, and that's the reason why that they prefer. You come in, you get in the as Triple H said, you learn our playbook, and then we put you in the big game. Before we send you to the majors, you come in the minors. But now people see NXT, it's the place to be. They can still go out there and wrestle. They can kind of have that independent feel, but still have on a major stage, a major spotlight, meaning a bigger audience. So I would love to see a guy like a Bobby Roode, and I understand what you're saying, Mike. Yeah, 7 years late in the sense where, I believe what you're saying is 7 years late, meaning you wanted to see these guys going at it
when they were hot.
guys. Yeah, going there with guys like Randy Orton. My dream matches is Randy Orton versus Bobby Roode. And I honestly don't think it's too late for that one. But I mean, you never know. I love James Storm coming on NXT, and I thought it was pretty cool that he came on there. And it looks like Glenn is joining us. Yes, the preacher man is here, but I thought it was pretty cool that WWE leaked it themselves. Well, not leaked, but they said it themselves. All these dirt sheets out here, they think they know everything. Don't believe everything you read. Thought WWE put it out there themselves. James Storm is on NXT, and so I like it.
Again, I just don't. Again, we don't know what's in their heads, and what they do. So all this is just, I'm speaking from me as a fan and what I want to see. I mean, the storyline
that's the way fans like to hear it. That's why they tune in.
That I write. You know what I mean? This is no inside information. This is just I wanted it. You know what I mean? And I do think it hurts their career. I do think that Robert Roode staying there for as long as he has, when he was. Certain things, right? We all been fans long enough, you know what I mean? And I have had the pleasure of wrestling professionally for a while. I just realized, like you said, Brian, it hurts like hell. And guess what, baby? I'm too old for this. I bowed out. I give all them wrestlers much respect to you, homie. Couldn't do that stuff. Whatever. Okay. But I just looked at it and I go, I can look at a wrestler when I see one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. I've dropped the ball. I remember saying that I thought Kevin Durant was Darius Miles. Okay, he had the body of Darius Miles. Am I lying? He looks like he was skinny. Oh, I was wrong. Hey, I admit it.
I would never. I give you 100%.
I admit it all the time because everybody can be wrong. But
when he's on Fox Sports 1340 next year, when he's a part of the Washington Wizards, I want to make sure you said I will replay this sound.
When he's a part of Washington Wizards, I will give each and every one of y'all $5 because I have my opinions. We talk about that later. They dropped the ball. I'm sorry. They waited in this company. That's for what it's worth. And I want this to be out there for the record. I do not hate TNA. I love all wrestling. If I can see it and it's decent, I will welcome it. But I thought this company was a sinking ship a while ago, and they should have jumped when they had the chance. Because hey, can you imagine what AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, could have been? But now, and I know we had that call a couple weeks back, and Corey said, "Oh, he's big in Japan, and he's this and he's that." At the end of the day, what Ric Flair said about Sting was probably true. You know what I mean? There's certain things that Vince can do with guys that other people can't do. And James Storm, Joe, and all these guys, they stayed for their pride, or the company didn't want it for whatever reason. Now the company wants it because the Triple H is trying to take the company in a different direction. And I just think it's too late. Glenn, you're here. Welcome.
You're welcome. It's never too late. In the wrestling business, it's never too late to make an impact in another company. You got to realize that it doesn't make a difference if James Storm goes today, tomorrow. The object of the game is to get to the WWE. Well, I'm gonna bring you a football analogy for a minute. Chris Winkie was the Heisman Trophy winner for Florida State Seminoles. He was about 27, 28 years old. His job was to make it to the NFL. He got there. Regardless of how long it takes you to get there, regardless of how your journey was, the point of the matter is to get there. James Storm got there. AJ Styles did not.
No one knows who James Storm is.
Everyone know James Storm. First of all, look, Mike, they may not know who James Storm is right now, but he's in the WWE. WWE makes stars. They make you a household name. So regardless of who knows James Storm, and right now, in my opinion, he's on the best thing in WWE. That's the best thing that WWE has going, NXT.
You're welcome. I've been telling y'all all that for years. You're welcome.
So NXT. So James Storm in NXT right now, and with James Storm in the WWE, and with this being big news, let's say we know everybody don't read dirt sheets, everybody don't watch the Summit, everybody don't. They should, but everybody don't. So at the point of the matter is that with James Storm being on the main roster, NXT is now becoming, if you look at it and the way WWE is shaping things up, everybody can't go to the main roster. So Samoa Joe can stay NXT, work the same number of dates that he did in TNA. James Storm can stay in NXT. Finn Balor can stay down there. Hideo Itami can stay down there.
Finn Balor's not staying.
He's going to stay right
gone.
Dude, he's not. He's not going yet. So right now he's still down there, and he's going to be established. So 5 months you can still make money. 7 months you can still sell out another Barclays Center. You can sell out another Grand Arena. That right now NXT is doing things that TNA never did. And guess what? We know it's all about the bottom dollar. James Storm get a bigger paycheck in WWE than he does in TNA. And guess what? TNA let one go. They let another one go. It is what it is.
They do. That's what they do.
But what I'm saying, if we are caught up in this system, and maybe I'm a little bit older than some of you guys, and I love wrestlers traveling around. I remember the territory. No, like you're the oldest person on here, but you know what I'm saying? You're the grandfather, But
no, I'm not. Don't you wish that even on me, Ricky Bobby? I go in there right now and tire tubes.
Nah, but look, it's like this. If we were still in the territory days, none of us would be complaining because they did this all the time.
You're right, but guess what?
They did this all the time.
Vince McMahon killed it. Amber, what's up? You thinking over there?
I'm listening to you guys. Don't pick on me.
I can't help it. I pick on everybody. That's all I am. No problem. Much love.
Nonetheless, man. Glenn, and I'm gonna go back in time on the show because the fans of the Godfather himself, Glenn, they like sitting there sending messages. Where's Glenn? Where's Glenn? Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Women in main event, we saw Sasha Banks and Bayley tear down the house once again.
Right.
Will we ever see the women of WWE main event a pay-per-view in any sort of capacity? Whether it's and Corey said, we can't necessarily call them B-rated pay-per-views no more. We call them that as historians, but those were a lot of the places where the surprises happen. But will we ever see that happen? And if so, are they on the roster right now, or have they yet to be born?
They're on the roster right now. Will we see it happen? I think so in the near future. I don't think we see it while Vince McMahon is living. But I think we'll see it when Triple H takes over. I think Vince still has a stigma on what he wants. I think if he didn't do it with Lita and Trish, he's not going to do it with this group right here. There's a measuring stick. Unless it is a big dollar. It's not going to be a WrestleMania. It's not going to be a Survivor Series. It's not going to be a Royal Rumble. It will be one of those. If it's a big dollar main event, I can see a women's ladder match maybe. It may take it over. Something of that nature, that magnitude. But I don't see just a regular Divas match for the Divas Championship happening. Could it be a co-main event? Definitely. But I think it also goes with how well Ronda Rousey does in the UFC, because if she continues to making money and they continue with this movement, and if there is a person that not in the WWE right now will main event a wrestling match, it'll be Ronda Rousey. And guess whoever she goes against, if she goes to that next level. That's my opinion. I think women, Sasha and Bayley did a great job. NXT, can we count that as a pay-per-view? That they build them as special takeover pay-per-views? Some people say no. And I don't want to say pay-per-view because at the day of age, the pay-per-views are over with. All right? Well, there's no more pay-per-views. So they all network shows in my eyes, all network specials. So if you want to put it that way, yes, there will be a women headline pay-per-view. I'd like to see Miss Amber do one. I wish it was Amber to be able to headline the pay-per-view, but we'll see how that goes in the future.
Oh, that's certainly, we'll be front row with tickets, and me, I'm gonna be right there with the camera, making sure, we got that on film. Make sure you check out her official music video right on her YouTube page. God, goodness gracious, you break it up the cover,
Sorry.
Make sure you check out music video, official video right on her shoot, I just forgot, Facebook page. And make sure you like all of our Facebook pages, The Wrestling Summit, Fox Sports 1340, and etc. But as we get ready to close out, we're gonna start. Our final thoughts. We're gonna start with Corey. I know he's on the road and he got to get back home so he can get ready. As Stone Cold say, have a beer for the working man. So I'll start with you, Corey, because I know you gotta get out of here.
I guess my final thoughts for this week at least is, what's WWE gonna do with their go home show for their next pay-per-view coming up?
Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that's next week. Unless I'm mistaken, next Sunday.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? This seems very lackluster other than Lesnar and Taker. This is what I'm really looking forward to, because
Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt.
we really, something is going on today. I was getting ready to say that's going to have to be the match that they really build the pay-per-view around. And I mean that in the sense of Brock and Taker, that's already established. We're going to get that. That's happening. Roman and Bray really needs to set the standard as far as whatever the fans are going to remember coming out of that pay-per-view, because these are the guys that you're going to have the next 10, 15 years.
Yep. All right, well, Amber, your final thoughts?
I like today's show. I think we should talk about women's wrestling more often. So, like you said, check out my my video on Facebook and on YouTube. I wish it was a music video. I wish I could rap or sing or something. But yeah.
We'll have the whole summit in the background, and you at the forefront. Auto-tune.
Mike?
Oh, see, Corey had to leave. My thought is, and we didn't do a show last week, and it's what it is. Fans, I want you guys to continue to tune in to us. We're trying here to come together to build something different and give you guys a good, honest perspective of just fans who try to use, some smarts about the sport of professional wrestling and have fun at the same time about it. And we all have our own different opinions. We all think differently. You can hear that tonight here, as we didn't all agree about nothing together, but we all respected each other's opinions. That's why I love this show, and I love the crew that we have. Roman Reigns to me and Bray Wyatt to me is must-see Hell in a Cell. I think the Monday Night Raw main event they had a week ago, I thought was phenomenal. I didn't think I could ever get a match like that out of Roman Reigns, and I thought from the fans' perspective, if you guys stop being a bunch of sheep and get out of what the person next to you, that's tweeting and sharing is saying something, and watch it for your own eyes and examine it for yourself, you might actually enjoy professional wrestling today. Yeah, I know it's a down period right now, but I understand they're doing their overseas stuff. The holidays are about to come. This is the low part of wrestling. This is what we've always known about professional wrestling. This time of year, it's the slow part. Get used to it. Stop saying, oh, the ratings are suffering because John Cena's not on TV. Stop saying the ratings are bad because Roman Reigns made a main event. That's not why the ratings are bad. The ratings are bad because it's that time of the year. They're not trying their best as writers, and football is back. It's that simple. Yeah, I know you lost to Love and Hip Hop, but guess what? I was watching Love and Hip Hop at 8 o'clock myself because I have a wife who wants to watch Love and Hip Hop. Okay? All right? But with that being said, fans, just be fans. Like it or don't like it. We run social media. So at the end of the day, we still have a voice. Have a voice that's your voice. Not Jerry, Tom's, Pookie, Nook, and Ray and them. Go ahead, Glenn, what's your final thoughts, man? And don't forget to check me out on Fox Sports each Thursday, 5 to 7, The Soul in Sports. My bad.
My final thoughts of this, and I want to touch several things you brought up. One is the ratings. You got to look at, you're not going to have the ratings for the smart wrestling fans that you had during the Attitude Era. One, you have more cable channels now, more variety of TV. Two, you don't have any competition. Monday Night Football is going to be Monday Night Football regardless of what it is. Everybody's a football fan and not a wrestling fan. If you ask TNA, would they want 2.3 million people watching their wrestling show each and every week, they would tell you yes. So when the WWE say their ratings have dropped down, most people would live for a 2.3. That's successful television on a Monday night. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, WWE ratings are lower, but good God Almighty, if I had a TV show, I want 2.3 million people or 3 million people watching my show. It's still money, still revenue, it's still dollars. They're not going anywhere on the USA channel. I think the rating thing is overrated most times because the wrestling ratings fluctuate anyway. So it's overrated. We'll pick back up, and it goes where it's at. As far as the state of women wrestling, I think women wrestling need to be where it's at right now. I think it needs to continue to grow. Women wrestling right now is saving the WWE product. If you think about it, if we didn't have NXT, you didn't have the women in NXT, you didn't have a lot of things, people wouldn't be tuning into NXT. Those women made NXT what it is. I know you had somebody say, well, you had Sami Zayn, and well, people really wasn't tuning in for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and all that stuff like they was talking about. People tune in for Sasha Banks. They tune in for Charlotte. They tune in for Natalya. When she was down there wrestling Charlotte a couple years ago. So they tune in for this. People wanted talking about the Iron Man match, 30-minute Iron Man match. They talked about Brooklyn match. Yes, do I see the farewells? I like seeing the farewells because it's breaking behind the fourth wall. It shows emotion. It shows the connection between the wrestling fan. People say, oh, Sasha Banks should be crying like that, but it was cool for the Clique to stand in the ring and do what they did at their curtain call, but it's not cool for Sasha Banks to have hers. Come on, stop being sexist, fellas, and let understand that they had their own clique, which are women, and we understand that. James Storm, let them be in the WWE, let it ride out. Those guys are going nowhere. I don't think none of them make the main roster. To tell you the truth, they're just going to be NXT until they ride their days out in the sunset. Wrestling Summit is here. We're not going anywhere. We got a lot of moving parts right now. Stay with us, stay with us, stay with us as we put these pieces together, because truly we will be taking over.
Well, what a day. You know, my team lost, the Ravens lost, the Cowboys lost, but guess what? Unlike Mike and Corey, they want to agree with each other.
What? Can't hear you.
Well, Brian got froze there for
I got actually two of them.
What?
Yeah, it's like this. NFC East is the worst division in football right about now.
I froze.
Yeah, you
I froze.
You totally froze, bro.
I'm back.
Okay.
Like I said, I got one of these put in there. Man, I would have had to cut the show if Mike and Corey agreed. Oh my goodness, I've never seen two people in this show agree with everything. Maybe it's because the Eagles won, but nonetheless, what a show! You know, I'm always happy anytime I'm joined with all of my family members: Amber, Corey, Mike, Glenn, and you know, Champ Creed in his absence. You know, he's around tweeting and texting. I'm not excited about Hell in a Cell, to be honest with you, but I think Monday Night Raw could change that. I am excited to see what happens between Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. People always want to say, you know, they try to blame. Did you really think you was gonna get through this show without this man's name coming up? People always want to blame Daniel Bryan for pushing Roman Reigns back to the back burner, but it wasn't his fault. It just, you know, a lot of people just wasn't Roman Reigns at the time. But I think now that, you know, we see him where he's going, I'm loving the direction. Love Bray Wyatt. And Lesnar Taker, that sells itself. So I can't wait to see what happens between those two. And let's just get ready for another week of professional wrestling. But as, you know, Glenn said earlier, the women's wrestling, man, it's hotter than ever before, and I think when you got women's wrestling this hot, that means it makes a better product, because that means you're firing on all cylinders, you know. And let's not forget, tag team wrestling is hot too. If you guys don't watch Table of Three, I recommend everybody check it out. It's a good series they have on the network. I just watched as people might want to call them, the indie darlings, Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, and Cesaro, just sitting down having, you know, as we would be just sitting down just talking about wrestling. So that's something I would definitely recommend you check out. And if you didn't see the New Days, I think you'll have a whole different respect for them, because New Day rocks. But, ladies and gentlemen, our time is up here. Make sure you are tuned in tomorrow at 5 o'clock on Fox Sports 1340 AM. And if you're not in the area, make sure you just log on to the website. Make sure you follow us, each and every one of us here at the Wrestling Summit, at Wrestle Summit. And when you follow us, you'll be able to see all our Twitter handles. Until next week, we are out. And last but not least, next week is a pay-per-view, so that means we will be on immediately after WWE Hell in a Cell. Good night, everybody.
Peace.